is parent feedback like a fruit basket? What a crazy question, right? Hi, I'm Teacher Tina, and by the end of this video, my hope is that you'll be able to answer the question, how is parent feedback like a fruit basket? But more importantly, you will be able to write effective parent feedback in a fraction of the time. So if you've been on my channel before, maybe you're a subscriber, thank you. Perhaps you've seen my video already of my interview with a VIPKid parent where we talked about parent feedback. That video, wow, that interview was so eye-opening to me. I learned so many things about parent feedback and just how important it really can be to the parents. And so, if it's important to the parents, it should be important to us, right? Because at the end of the day, as independent contractors, as VIPKid teachers, we are basically small business owners, right? We are like small business owners, and who are our customers? The parents. So at the end of the day, we want to be sure that we are giving them what they want so that they keep coming back for more. So we have that customer retention, right? Okay, so as business owners, I've helped a lot of people get started with VIPKid and continue to build their businesses. And I think a lot of it really comes back to feedback. That seems super simple, but it makes a big difference. And so along the way, I've come up with a framework that I'd like to share with you today. So this is something I've only ever shared with referrals, but I decided, hey, I think this could be helpful to everyone. I'm just going to share it on here. So this is the SHAPE framework. These are 5 simple steps that you can do, like steps that you take when you're writing your feedback that will convert in better success for you as a small business owner, okay? So it will also cut down the amount of time you spend. So it cuts down the time, gives you better feedback in return, helps your students more. There's really nothing wrong with trying out this framework. So let's give it a try. Okay, so I'm going to break down the framework for you, and I'm also going to give you some resources, free resources along the way. Okay, so our first thing that we want to do, our first step when we're writing feedback is, surprise! Okay, so a lot of times I hear people say, I feel like the parents don't even read my feedback anyway. And my question back is, well, what's your opening line, right? Because if parents aren't reading your feedback, it might be because it looks boring. Right? So sometimes I'll ask people that question. I'll say, what's your opening line? And they'll say, it was nice to see Bao Bao in class today. Or Bao Bao did a great job in class today. Guess what all the other teachers are using as their openers? Those 2 things, right? You want to have something a little more interesting. So for example, instead of saying, Bao Bao did a great job in class today, I would say something like this. It's raining, it's pouring, and Bao Bao is snoring, okay? So I like to use lines from throughout our lessons. So especially in the lower level classes, I will take a line from a song that we sang, and the parents have reacted really positively to that because they actually are interested in what I have to say. So the purpose of the surprise is to catch their attention, okay? So think of how you can catch their attention right out the gate. The next step that we want to take is we want to highlight. So I want to take you back to your days as a student. Maybe you're still a student and you're awesome. But when we have a highlighter, we don't usually go through and highlight every single thing on the page, right? At that point, why did you even highlight anything? But I see people do this all the time. They write a step-by-step, like play-by-play of every single thing that happened in the class. And all that does is eat up your time and overwhelm your parent. So I really don't suggest doing a play-by-play because at the end of the day, if the parents want a play-by-play, they'll just watch back the class. They'll just watch it back. They're all recorded, right? So anyway, instead of doing that play-by-play, just highlight one special moment from the class or one special memory, okay? And if it's hard to choose, you can do 2, whatever. But for example, I might say something like, I really enjoyed hearing Anna talk about her dance recital. 1 sentence, right? But what does that 1 sentence do? It tells the parents that I care and that I pay attention. And then as a little bonus for you, by sharing that highlight, by highlighting that memory, you, when you go back and look at old feedback, have like highlights of your classes, right? You have a little memory and you can remember things about your student. It's helpful to you, it's helpful to your parents. Just keep it simple with highlighting 1 memory, okay? So you want to highlight. The next thing that you want to do is advise. Okay, and this is where a free resource comes into play here. Okay, so a lot of times we know that it could help our students if we gave them advice to do things at home, but we don't always know how to offer advice, right? So not everyone has a teaching background and can easily think of like simple activities to do at home. So I have a resource for you that my friend Meredith started putting together, and with her permission, it is on my website. You can click the link in the video description below, okay? And this resource is basically a bank of examples of at-home practice exercises. So you basically can look at the topic, right? So maybe the student had an issue with identifying letters. You can see the example of how they can practice at home. You just copy and paste, fling it in here as your advise piece. Okay? So you just want to advise, you want to tell them something simple that they can do at home to practice, because at the end of the day, we have 25 minutes for them, and they are not native speakers by the end of 25 minutes, right? There's always room for improvement with everyone and everything. So we want to give them something that they can work on at home, something specific, not just saying she needs to work on pronouncing letters. Tell her how to practice it. Give an example using that resource. Okay, so we want to surprise, highlight, advise, and then praise. So we are bringing it back on a positive note. Not that any of it has been negative, right? We want to frame it in a positive tone, but the praise piece is really important because it reminds parents that their investment is worth it, right? That it's an investment to take VIPKid classes, so you want to show them that their student has really been learning, okay? So for example, when I praise my student, again, one sentence, when I praise my student, I like to keep it nice and simple. So my favorite thing to do is to highlight, well, let me not use that word, is to praise one thing that changed the most throughout the class, or one thing that I was really proud of for my student. So I might say something like, I was really proud of Tom because his I was really proud of Tom because his pronunciation of roller coaster improved. Right? One sentence. What improved from the start of the class to the end of the class? And some other good words to throw in there are progress and clever. Call your student clever. Those things translate really, really well, okay? And it kind of boosts the parents up and reminds them that you were a good fit, okay? So that was praise. You want to praise your student. And the last thing that we want to do is engage. So we want to engage our parent, and really this one has like 3 little sub steps, but they're super simple, okay? So the first thing that we want to do to engage is we want to thank, and then we want to preview, and then we want to ask. So thank, preview, ask. I do have notes below to remind you of these steps, okay? So to thank, for example, thank you for booking me as Tom's teacher today. Nice and simple, okay? And then we preview. In our next class, I expect Tom to speak in full sentences. Now what that preview does is it reminds parents that, hey, I'm going to provide value to you again if you come back to my class, okay? It shows that you care and that you plan to follow up on things, all right? And then the third thing that we do is ask. So you can ask any question that you want here. There's not like one right question, but you know, this is a business, so maybe you can kind of lead the parents to some positive feedback by asking a question. Now, you don't have to ask, will you please write me a 5-apple feedback review? No, you don't need to ask something like overt like that, but maybe you can kind of nudge parents in that direction. Like, did you enjoy hearing Tom speak in full sentences today? Right? Hint, hint, I'm a great teacher, write me feedback. Right? So like, I like to bring it back to the student, put the attention on the student, but they'll know that I was back there with the curtain, right? And so they are more inclined to thank me for what I've done, and then in turn, when they thank me and write feedback, other parents see that and it grows the business. So the most important step in engage, I think, is to ask. Right? To ask, you want to ask a question at the end, because if you don't ask a question, parents will probably just read it and go, oh, that was nice, right? And then they'll tuck it away. But if you ask a question, they're going to want to follow up with you, okay? Especially if the question is related to their student. So you could ask, did you enjoy hearing Tom speak full sentences today? Or you can ask something about the student, like, what is Tom's favorite hobby? Something like that. Parents love to talk about their kids, so just invite them to talk with you in that way. And you'll be amazed by how much more feedback you get. And then I did ask you a really crazy question at the start of this video, right? I surprised you by asking you the question, what was the question? How is parent feedback like a fruit basket? Okay, so let's imagine that you are giving your students' parents a fruit basket. Parent feedback. You're giving them a fruit basket. All they want is the real meat of the class, right? All they want is this stuff from Shape. They just want the apples. Let's imagine they just want the apples, but you gave them this feedback. You did a step-by-step, everything that happened in the class, bananas, mangoes, everything. Ooh, they're probably not even going to read your feedback, right? It's overwhelming. Keep it short, keep it simple. Just give them what they want, and they will pick the apples and return them to you, all 5 of them. Okay, so I would love if you would engage with me before you head off to another video. So I would love, please answer the question below. This is my ask. What was your favorite step of the framework? What is your favorite step? Or which one do you want to do? You know, you can comment with whatever, but I'd love to hear which step really resonated with you. And then if you can think of someone else who would benefit from this video, please share it and subscribe so you don't miss any videos, and then send me a like if you enjoyed it. I would love to hear from you. All right, thank you so much, and good luck getting your feedback in shape. Bye.